Today, I'm going to show you how to take these thick and rigid Birkenstocks and transform them into this. Let's get started. This job has only 4 basic steps, but to begin, you'll need the following materials. First off, you'll need a pair of Birkenstocks or some other generic version that also has the cork upper and EVA foam undersoles. My team and I have found that using a sandal that is one size smaller than your usual shoe size is ideal to get the best results. This is because the cork sole has a lip around the edges, which effectively reduces the space for the foot. However, when the cork is removed, one gains access to the full length of the undersole. Moving on, you'll need a utility knife with a fresh blade, one piece of scrap leather or any high quality leather or material alternative of your choice, a thick tipped permanent marker, a glue that is suitable for shoe repair. Examples are contact adhesive, shoe cement, or any other flexible glue. I personally like using Renier Aqualim 315, a water-based glue that is uber user-friendly for this purpose. Finally, you'll need sandpaper between 60 and 100 grits. Oh, and a ruler, a nail, and a hammer. I'll list all these items down below in the description with Amazon links to find them all. So now that you have all your materials, let's begin. With your utility knife in hand and a fresh blade, the first step is to separate the leather straps from the cork upper soles. First, unbuckle the straps and peel them back, thereby creating some tension between the leather straps and the cork so that the glue can be seen. Then, carefully start slicing at the join with your blade. This step, like all the steps in this project, should be done with patience. A mistake made out of haste could cost you the pair, so put on some relaxing music and just enjoy the project. The main reason for which this idea works so well with Birkenstocks is that they have a natural foot-shaped sole that can accommodate the foot and all its toes in good alignment. It is for this reason that we included Birkenstocks in our list of top 10 shoes for bunions in our previous video. Once the straps have been completely separated from the cork, start at the front of the shoe and lightly begin cutting between the cork and EVA foam. Once you have separated a few millimeters between the two materials, start peeling them apart by hand so that the glue joining the fibers can be seen and precision cuts can be made. I found that this step is easier when one has a good light source. Birkenstocks have thick and rigid slabs of cork on top of the undersoles. The idea is that over time the foot will mold the cork slab into its shape, which will then support the foot and arch, similarly to the support provided by memory foam. Now, while this might sound good on paper, the reality is that humans were not made to walk on beds of memory foam. Our feet have adaptable and robust structures that are meant to react to all types of environments, in the process strengthening and promoting the agility of these structures. So if you want strong and adaptable feet, you don't want to rely on external crutches to support them. That means the cork has to go. Don't be too concerned if some cork is left behind. This will be taken care of in the next step. Remember, cork can always be removed, but if one gets overzealous with the blade at first and removes chunks of EVA from the undersole, that is a much bigger problem to handle later on. One needs to also be careful when slicing the cork on the sides, because this is where the leather upper attaches to the sole. If this attachment is severed, there might be no way to fix the leather back onto the sole. Once the bulk of the cork sole has been removed, carefully slice away any big chunks of cork that still remain, until you're left with only a thin layer. Then, it's as simple as grabbing your coarse 60 to 100 grit sandpaper and sanding the rest away. Because sandpaper gets hot when doing it by hand, it is best to use a sanding block if you have one. I used the remains of a cork sole as a substitute to protect my fingers. However, if you enjoy DIY projects such as this one and plan to do more than one Birkenstock barefoot sandal conversion, then I highly recommend that you pick up a mini rotary sanding disc kit for your drill. This kit is really inexpensive at just under $10 US. I'll drop links down below with the rest of the links. This sanding attachment makes this part of the project go really fast. However, there are a few tricks you need to know when using this tool for this purpose. The most effective sanding technique using this device is to stand the drill upright on a workbench and hold it with your non-dominant hand. Then with your dominant hand, maneuver the sole and apply just the right amount of pressure against the rotating disc. None of the other methods I've tried have been as effective and just led to frustration. But if you want to take it to a pro level, Wrap a cloth around the base of the drill for protection and lightly clamp it into a vise. Then you have extra stability while sanding. The goal is to keep sanding until the surface is evenly smoothed out and you reach the Hessian cloth that is sandwiched between the EVA foam and the cork upper sole. At this point, only remnants of the cork should be left behind. Finally, any glue and cork that is left on the leather upper can be removed with a less abrasive sandpaper such as 150 grit. This step isn't really necessary though, since one never sees this portion of the sandals. It's just an extra step for the perfectionists out there. Moving on to step 3, which is to lay down a new leather lining on top of the now bare 10mm undersole. The cool thing about this step is that one can choose any color lining one fancies for a true custom upgrade. I just bought some scrap leather off Amazon. You can purchase a single piece for this job or even 2 pounds of the stuff in all different colors really cheaply. I bought 4 pounds worth because I want to experiment with different colors. I also like using leather for many other projects around the house, like when I glued down 2 pieces of cowhide onto the J-cups of my squat rack. Now, instead of making a big noise and having the rack scratch my barbell every time I rack it, the leather protects the equipment and dampens the sound. Other materials such as denim from an old pair of jeans can also be used. However, I think the leather looks the nicest. Once you have your material in your preferred color, lay the shoe on top of it and trace around the sole using the permanent marker. Then, with the sharp scissors, cut out the sole lining along the inside of the marked outline. It's really important to cut the sole lining with precision because this will dramatically influence how neat the shoe looks in the end. Once the sole liner has been shaped and cut, the next step is to glue it in place. I use Renier Aquilum 315 for all my gluing. This glue works by spreading it on both the surfaces you want to bind, then allowing them to dry separately. Once dry, the 2 pieces can be joined and pressed together. One can even use a rubber mallet for this. What's cool is that with this glue, the pieces will bind instantly and the sandals can then be worn straight away. This eliminates the need for clamps and other things to hold the parts together during the curing period, as with other types of glue. Furthermore, Renier Aquilum 315 is water-based, which makes cleanup really simple afterwards. Okay, now on to step 4. This final step is required to get a custom fit from your new Barefoot sandals by punching new holes in the leather straps. You see, because we removed the cork upper sole, the footbed drops a lot, which means that there is now a lot more room for the foot than before. Selecting one shoe size smaller than usual, as mentioned earlier, definitely mitigates this issue. However, I found that even with the smaller size and on the tightest notch, there is still too much room for my foot. So punching out 1 or 2 more notches in the leather straps fixes this problem. To do this, one simply needs a ruler, a nail, and a hammer. I've measured the gaps between the holes and found them to be 8mm apart. So with the ruler lined up, it's just a matter of taking a nail that is about the same thickness as the other notches on the straps, placing it 8mm from the last hole, and then hammering the nail through the leather. Be sure to have a scrap piece of wood underneath though, as it's going to be a tough one to explain to your parent or significant other why there's a nail stuck in their dining room table. Start off by punching 1 additional hole in each strap, then add more if needed. Remember, new notches can always be added but can't be taken away. And that's the full process. I did this conversion to 2 pairs of men's and 2 pairs of women's Birkenstocks, as you can see here, to be sure that I could get this process refined and perfected. I also tried it out on a generic knockoff pair and the process worked just as well. And now you can do the same. Anyway, if you found value in this video, you know what to do. See you in the next one. Cheers.